Hey everyone, welcome back to this episode of I Date Money Money Talks. Today we are focusing on how to pay off debt without budgeting shame. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Lisa Drennon. I am your wealth activator and the creator of the Cash Flow 5-Star Formula. So, if you're a divorced mompreneur or a high achieving woman who's ever felt ashamed about debt, this video is for you because here's the truth. Shame never paid off a credit card. Worrying about getting the money to pay it off never paid it off quicker, and hustle alone won't build true wealth. So, why do traditional budgets keep you broke? You've probably been told to track every penny, cut the lattes, eat ramen noodles, and download yet another app. But budgeting this way often creates shame, not success. When every dollar is tracked with guilt, your nervous system gets stuck in fear. And from fear, we sabotage, overspend, hide. I know because I did this for years. I got addicted to 0% credit cards and racked up $100,000 worth of debt, thinking I would pay it off. I would just make more money. I ended up working full-time, overtime, and had 3 side hustles. And still, I could not create a formula to pay it back. So, thinking about this, instead of control, you need clarity. Instead of guilt, you need a system. What works instead? It's the energy alignment. It's the decision to say, you know what? I'm tired of money controlling me. I'm going to start controlling it. Debt isn't a character flaw. Yes, we've normalized debt, but there's a way to leverage debt to make it work for us. And it's not about having too much debt. It's about a cash flow issue. So what I teach my clients is to bless their debt. We do an I love debt worksheet, not to battle it. And when you ask yourself, just think about this. What did this debt give to me? What did I spend this money on? What was I really trying to feel? We buy from emotion. So how can we give ourselves that feeling, that dopamine hit, without racking up the debt, without spending more? Because what happens is I've had several ladies go through the Crush on Debt program only to rack that debt back up because they haven't broken that psychological crutch that keeps them stuck in wanting to borrow money. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they have the money. Because if you think about it, if you can rack up $10,000, $100,000 worth of debt, you can make that much money to pay it off. But what happens is we create a personalized spending plan. We put the money multiplier system in place where 20% goes to your debt strategically without punishment. You still get to save, you still get to play, you still get to live, right? You don't have to cut your groceries and live on ramen noodles or, get rid of the lattes. But what happens is when you have that desire to be financially free, and we have to get to the root cause of why we're spending our money this way. Like, what void in our lives is it fulfilling? When were you told no? When were you told you couldn't have something? Or when have you felt so fearful of losing your money that you thought, well, I'll just put it on this credit card and I'll pay it later. But then you keep using that credit card, and then when the bill comes, you're like, ooh. But you may be disciplined and pay off that credit card bill each month. And if so, then you don't need to listen to this. But if you're that type of person like I was, it was a game. I got a little bit of Gary the Gambler. If you haven't taken the money archetype quiz, go over to highdatemoney.com and find out who's driving your money decisions. But I have a little Gary the Gambler in me, and I was like, let's borrow someone else's money. Let's leverage debt. So when I was, got the email notifying me that, yet another credit card bill was due, I thought, oh no, my 0% is running out. And I had like 12 credit cards, and half of them were going to expire on that 0%. And I hate paying interest. And when I looked at it, I was too afraid to total up all the money that I owed on these credit cards. So I did, and it was $100,000. And so I would, juggle my finances, finesse the finances, a consolidation loan. I put my car up for collateral, and I thought, well, paying 7% interest versus 24% interest is a lot better, right? I don't want to pay all that high interest. And I couldn't get another 0%. But you know what happened? Once I transferred 50% of my debt onto that consolidated loan, I got more 0% credit cards. So then I would just play the game, and I kept this cycle going on for years, hid it from my husband. And when he found out, he accused me of financial infidelity, grounds for divorce, right? So I made a decision one day, and I was like, I remember just sitting there like, I have to do something. And I had just started my coaching business online. I was working with a marketing coach, and, we were talking about the system I was going to put into place to launch. And she goes, well, I want you to watch the videos on the money setup. And it was all about the relationship with money, which, I mean, I had the finances, I had the budgets down, right? But I never thought about the emotions. I was too busy hiding from my emotions. And I was so full of shame. I had tried to, I'm a certified financial coach, right? And I remember going to my fellow financial coaches in the community thinking, what am I doing wrong? Like, why can't I follow my own program? And I thought, I was so embarrassed I wouldn't even teach on finances. I kept shying away from it. And as a certified aromatherapy practitioner, I was like, well, let's just focus on getting to the root cause of our emotions when I myself wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do the own work. And if you're a coach and you're not doing your own program, stop right now, go do your own program. So important to practice what we preach, right? And to do that work. So I've helped dozens of women do the same while growing their businesses and reclaiming their confidence, while growing their savings and building up that emergency fund. Yes, while they're paying off debt. And please, please, please do not go with a debt relief company. No, that is just a nightmare. But when you feel worthy of wealth, when you make that decision and you say, you know what? I'm tired of paying down debt. I'm tired of racking up this. I'm going to find out what those emotional gaps are, and I'm going to fill them with other ways. I'm going to get to the root cause. I'm going to neutralize it. So if you think like, okay, I'm going to crush on debt by setting aside 20% of my income plus the minimum deposits, I'm going to choose the snowball method to pay back my debt. And by this date, now remember, implement the SMART goal, right? By this date, I'm going to pay off all of my debt, and I'm going to change my relationship with money so that I don't rack up debt again. This has been a battle for me. So when I paid off my debt, I paid off the $100,000 within 6 months, and I was like in tears because I realized I was still a multimillionaire. And it's just like, I did this. Like, I made all this money and I saved it. I was responsible. And it was simply by taking my income away from me, because money burns a hole in my pocket. And so, I felt like I had all my money taken away, but I felt like I didn't have any. So I kept going after making more money. And if you watch the YouTube channel Money Talks on May 29, 2025, I talk about this psychology of money, the 3 phases of money. Like, we can keep money, but we have a skill set to make money, but can we keep it, and can we multiply it? And this is exactly what I do in the Wealth Accelerator, is I teach women how to keep their money and multiply it, because there's tons of 6-figure coaches out there who don't have 6 figures in the bank. Okay. Just because they're making 6 figures doesn't automatically make them a millionaire. The investments, the assets, your relationship is where your true wealth is going to be. So it's time. It's time, okay, to stop hiding. It's time to stop feeling restricted. It's time to stop using your paycheck to pay your bills. And if you're ready to dive in, join me in the Wealth Accelerator. It's a 12-week experience where we will, that's a little tongue twister there, rewrite your money story, simplify your finances, and finally pay off your debt for good. So go ahead and click the link in the show notes if you're ready to get into the next group. There's only 12 spots for 12 weeks. So if you can't get in this round, you can join the next round. But why wait? Why put off your true wealth? Why not get that relationship now? And when you think about paying off your debt and being debt free, when you think about how to pay off debt without budgeting shame, it begins from the inside out. It begins with changing that relationship. It begins with that choice. Are you ready to choose to be debt free, to crush on debt? Because remember, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's what you do with it.